Alright then guys, welcome back to another video. So I was recently contacted by a company called Sculpfun and they asked if I fancied trying out one of their S30 Ultra Series laser engravers. So let me just point out that when it comes to technology, I am probably the least tech-savvy human being on the entire planet, and that is no exaggeration. All my videos, editing, thumbnails are all done on a smartphone using free to download, simple to use apps, so nothing complicated whatsoever. But at the same time, I thought it was too good an opportunity to pass up on, and I can think of 1,000,001 different things that I can use this laser engraver for moving forward, especially in the workshop. So I'm coming at this from an angle of, can a complete idiot like me actually assemble one of these laser engravers and get it working? So the video could either be a complete fail or a success. I'm hoping for the latter, fingers crossed. So let's find out whether an idiot like me can actually build one of these and get it working. So without further ado, let's get it out of the box, see what's in the set and see if I can use it. Okay then guys, so while I unpack it all, let's just talk about the laser itself. So the S30 Ultra series comes with either the 11 watt, 22 watt or 33 watt laser. It's easy to upgrade between the three because the models have the same framework, same power adapter setup and laser cables. So you only need to replace the laser itself. And they all come as standard with a large engraving area of 600mm by 600mm. They also all come equipped with advanced safety features such as an emergency stop switch and key, and without the key inserted the machine will not turn on. They also have replaceable lenses which greatly improves the service life of the laser. And finally, the S30 Ultra series is equipped with advanced high pressure air assisted nozzle, improving cutting efficiency and reducing burning. The upgraded 32-bit motherboard supports wireless Bluetooth connection, so you're not limited by the length of the USB cable, which makes it much easier. So from what I can see, it's not going to be too complicated when you've got coloured pictures and diagrams showing the assembly. I'll just give you a quick rundown of all the bits, not that I know what everything is. Assuming that's the laser, so I'm leaving that in the packet. These are all labelled, left, right, back, front. One thing I do like is all the different nuts, bolts, screws. Step 1, step 2, step 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Spare screws bag. So from what I can see, it's actually been designed even for idiots like me to put together. So let's see how the assembly goes. So the first step is fitting together the two side frame sections and the rear section. This is done by using the screws in bag 1. The longest one goes through the leg and through the side section and then screws into the end of the rear section. I would advise to do them loosely to begin with, and then once the frame's all put together, go back and tighten them all up. Next, you can put the X-beam assembly into the U-shaped frame, and once that's slotted on, you can then attach the front rail in the same way as the rear rail. On the left side at the front, it's got the standard leg, the same as the two rear corners. And when we get to the right side, you can see that the motherboard is actually attached to the leg. They call it the motherboard tripod. And by that I mean that the main control box is actually attached to the right front leg. But it gets assembled in exactly the same way using the 4 screws. So the next step is to fit the rubber belts. You're provided with 2 separate rubber belts with teeth on one side. The belts are fitted along the channel in the side frames, and then they fit under the first roller, up over the cogs on the X-beam, which moves the laser from side to side, back down the other side, under the rear rollers, and then out the end of the frame. I will actually show you a close-up for anyone that doesn't actually get what I'm saying. Now, I did struggle getting the belt through because there's not a lot of room in there. I managed to get it under the first roller, bunched it up so I could get hold of it and got it up over the cogs, but I had a little bit more trouble actually getting it back down the other side and under the wheel because you can't quite get your hand, and it's fiddly to actually grab hold of the rubber belt itself. So once you've done that, you just simply, there's a hole in the end of the frame, just feed the excess of the rubber cable through that, and it will be hanging out both ends. So there's the close-up. You can see it goes under the first roller, up over that silver bar where the teeth are, back down underneath the wheel at the back and through the little hole on the end. And then to secure it in place, you get these little T-nuts and mini bolts, and what you do is you put the T-nut in place and make sure it's perpendicular to the groove on the frame, and then you can tighten the bolt up. Do one end, and then when you get to the final end, before you do it up, pull on the rubber belt and get it as tight as you can before doing it up. So the next step is fitting a laser, and that is done using 2 little, I'm going to call them finger knobs because you'll tighten and loosen them by hand. So they just simply go through the X bar from the back and into the laser itself, and this is what allows you to alter the height of the laser against your work material. You just loosen the little knobs off and you can actually slide the laser up and down. Then once the laser's fitted, you can fit the safety guard. That uses two slightly smaller knobs and they go either side, and exactly the same as the ones on the laser. You just tighten them up to hold it in place, and if you need to adjust the height of the guard or take it off completely, then you just loosen the knobs and you can either adjust the height or remove it completely. Alright, so the laser's on. We've got these two limit switches that we need to put on. And first one, there's 3 holes on the inside edge here. Depending on what size laser you've got, depending on which hole it's fitted in, so make sure you check the instructions. Mine goes on the first hole. So you just simply put it in place. The other one goes on the top of this one. It just goes on like so. Just put it in and then check it's in the right position before you actually tighten it down. Get it more or less where I want it, and I can check where it needs to be. And there. So the cable, you've got these two connectors, and then if you get to the end of the cable, you've got 2 connectors on the far end. And the nearest 2 go into your X and Y motors, and it's clearly marked which one's which. This is your Y, that's your X, and it's marked on the actual cable itself. You'll see, get it to focus, Y axis, and the other one says X. So plug those in. That goes in that one. That one goes in that one. Like so. So the other end, on this one you've got an X. So it obviously goes onto the switch, limit switch on the X. And that one says laser on it. So that connects with the laser. Oh, be mindful of that. You don't push it down and damage it. Right, and along the front here, this cable has got the Y on it. That goes onto the Y limit switch. There's actually a channel that runs on the inside of this, and you get this little plastic trim, and this cable just runs inside the trim along the back of this section, and then you push this in over the top. Obviously where it clips on, you need to leave a little bit of slack, and then we put it in this slot, and you take your trim. It's obvious which way round this goes because one side's got a hollow on it. The hollow goes towards the cable. It needs to start off fairly close to this end, and then just a case of working your way down, clipping it in. Again, just leaves you with a little bit of slack this end where it's joined up with all the rest of the wires, and that is that. Keeps it nicely tucked away and out of sight. The air line, you fit it on the nozzle that end, because this has got the assisted air blower. That just comes off this nozzle there, runs up. You get these two plastic clips, and there's a couple of holes in this section where these clips can just be screwed to. And you do get a load of cable ties for kind of clipping all these cables neatly, but I'm going to leave them off for the minute because I want to know exactly where I need to clip them to, because obviously I don't want to kind of do any up in the wrong place and then have the machine restricted. So I'm going to leave the cables kind of free running at the moment until I've got all that sussed. So this is your air pump unit. You've got the cable comes off of that. So that's just going to sit down here. The other end of the blue pipe just pushes onto this nozzle. This has actually got nice rubberized kind of springy feet on the bottom. So on my floor it is kind of solid, it doesn't slide anywhere. Now this cable here, there's actually one more short length cable down here, and that is where this goes in. So we just connect that. And that is all the cables actually connected, apart from the power lead. So for setting your height of the laser to your workpiece, you get this, I think it's aluminum bar for setting the height. You also get these round brackets with like the small T-type nut on it, and the rail on the front has got the slot in. Just have to put that in the slot, and then you can turn the T-nut, and then you need to do this up. And then you repeat that with the other side. Better move it. And make sure that you can get that in, so it's not too tight, so you can actually store it in there so you don't lose it. And then do that one up. That's just somewhere to store it when it's not in use. Last thing to do, you get these little, where is it, rubber feet, and you get 2 per leg, and they just kind of open up and slide in place. And a little bit fiddly. They just stops the feet from scratching the surface. You get one on this side of the leg and then you put one on this side. Okay then guys, so that is the basic assembly now complete. The last job I need to do is to clip and tidy up all the loose cables. But one thing to be wary about when you're doing that is that you leave enough slack on the cables so the X bar will actually slide forwards and backwards freely and the laser can move side to side. So hopefully you've noticed already, but for those of you that might not have noticed or know nothing about lasers, the S30 Ultra series actually come as standard with the much larger frame, so it's got a much larger working area. In the specs it says the working area on this machine is 600 by 600 millimeters, which is more than enough to tackle most projects. I know the frame is actually slightly bigger than the working area itself, so allowing for the bits that stick out both sides of the frame. For anyone that wants to know the overall dimensions of the unit itself, I would say you're looking at about 31 inches or 79 centimeters. That's give or take, and that's the same front to back and side to side, just in case there's anyone that wants to know how big the frame itself is. So the S30 Ultra series also come with the automatic air assist, which is supposedly really good at making the cutting of different materials more efficient and producing less burning. Obviously I've not actually used it yet, so I've not seen it for myself, but I have watched quite a few videos and everyone raves on about how much difference the air assist adds. So looking forward to actually using the machine. One quick thing before I end the video, I've not actually sorted out the software for this yet. So as soon as I've sorted out the software, I will be having a play with this machine and trying to work out how to use it. I'm hoping I'm going to be able to suss out the controls and actually get it working. So if you want to see that, that will be featured in the next video about this laser. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I'm definitely excited and I really hope I can actually master this and do some exciting things with it moving forward. So I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope it's useful to some people that might be looking at lasers or maybe thinking of purchasing this one. So I hope you enjoyed it. Until the next video, stay safe and you will see me in the next video. Hopefully, fingers crossed, with a working laser. We'll see. Take it easy guys, thanks for watching.